Hello. I had The Secret History of the Rape Kit, a true crime story by Pagan Kennedy, and it was created by me, Elise Grimm. I found myself noticing all the man-made objects that seemed as if they'd been created specifically to allow men to get away with sexual assault. This is a quote in page 5 of Kennedy's story. It starts off the book by basically just saying how she first got into this, her obsession with the rape kit, and how she wanted to get deeper knowledge into it. The man-made objects would be seen as the date rape drug, websites that are used to post unconsented videos, and other things like that. The Secret History of the Rape Kit is not how it sounds. It talks about the original creator and how she overcame extreme sexism. This book is written more as a first-person research paper. It is Pagan Kennedy herself explaining her obsession with the history of this kit, along with the desire to learn about how it came about. Whenever I first saw the intro to this book, or I first saw the first page, I thought that it was going to be about a sexual assault story and about the victim, but it's really just about the kit and how it was created and the obstacles that she overcame, along with a lot of just Kennedy's life story and how she got obsessed with this. The person Pagan Kennedy is looking into is Marty Goddard. Because of the abuse she endured as a child, she became a firm advocate against sexual assault and physical abuse, dedicating her time into making sure all victims received justice. As a kid, she was abused by her father. She would be hit while her sister would be there watching, and her sister would ask her mom, like, do something, come on, like, do you not see this is wrong? And her mom would just deny it. So she was living in fear of her family for a really long time. Along with that, she was sexually assaulted at a pretty young age and continued to be throughout most of her life. What struggles did she overcome? Though it is not seen as Marty being the one to create the kit, it was all her ideas and hard work that made a great change to the protection of our society. From her being continuously turned down and challenged by investigators and police departments, it only caused her to grow and feel more passionate about her idea. This man in the picture right here is one of the Chicago forensics scientists. He is the one on the website, or if you just look up who created the rape kit, his name is the first one to pop up, and he actually stole the idea from her, even though it was all her idea and she made the whole entire thing. Along with that, she's continuously being challenged. In the Chicago Police Department, actually, there's continuously underwear that would be hung against the sign of the police department in showing non-support for the rape kit. Through this book, we get a good look into the real life of Marty Goddard, along with the life of Pagan Kennedy. Kennedy interviews siblings, old friends, old co-workers, and those who have spoken or heard Marty talk about the rape kit. She tries to track down all of these people just to get a good understanding on where Marty is. She tried to find obituaries, death notes, all of this to see if she could somehow track down Marty, but instead she just came across family members, old co-workers, old friends. She would interview each and every one of them, and they would all mainly say the same thing about how Marty was so involved with her work that she would spend almost all of her time doing it. That's the one thing she was like truly passionate about. So, what is the rape kit? The rape kit is a travel-sized cardboard box with evidence collectors such as envelopes for biological evidence, doll-sized combs, glass microscope slides, swabs, nail clippers, and instruction booklets to guide the forensic nurses who perform the exam. This kit is very easily used, especially, well, to think about it logistically, if you are being, sexually assaulted, it won't give you very much time to pull out this little box from your pocket and just take a little piece of hair. But it also could. I would say this was very helpful, or it is more helpful now because it is more publicized and it's more used, but before this could have helped many, many women. The purpose. The point of this book was to find out who created this kit, why, and how did they accomplish it. While it did find all of these points, I also felt like I was reading somebody's personal diary. It did have all these points, and it did talk about Marty, but it also had Pagan's own experiences, and she almost wrote it as if she was just sharing her life to an old friend, or just writing in her personal diary. It kind of made me feel like I was looking into her life in some way that wasn't supposed to be how I was looking into her life. It was just a lot of details, which I think that actually is really good, especially for if you are a sexual assault survivor. Then you just know that, like, oh, she's writing this book and she's publicizing it. I shouldn't be scared to say, like, what happened to me. Connections. This book reminds me of how many people feel, not only through the struggle of being a victim of sexual assault, but also through the way this book was worded. The words to me sound like a conversation, the way it would change from one thing to another while still maintaining the topic. It reminds me of mental health. Through the way of it being all connected, even though it's all clustered together, she would talk about her childhood, she would talk about what she saw in her bedroom or in her dreams as a kid, or her family, or what she would hear from old friends of Marty's. But all of this would connect to the same point. Through this, I see it as a connection to mental health because although all of these separate things in our life do look as if they don't connect, they all do connect because they are a part of our mental health. Yeah. Good read or bad? This book on an academic level was not that bad to read. It was a little repetitive, but once she would start talking about her own life, it would get more interesting. At first, I did get incredibly bored because she was just talking about Marty and she was talking about DNA and science. But then whenever I would read more into it, she was really just talking about her life, all the experiences that she had. One example would be she talked about her dreams one time about an underwear man that would come into her room. I don't know. I found that really interesting. Even though it was a little strange, I would say it wasn't a hard read. It's just it got a little bit boring at times, so you would kind of have to make yourself turn the other page and start reading it. Who should read this? When reading this book, do not expect to be on your seat throwing popcorn in the air. I would say there were parts that were very interesting, but there is not a big dramatic ending. I would recommend this book to somebody that likes to learn along with an every so often story. I would also recommend this book to anyone who has been a sexual assault victim. I think this book is good to read if you're a sexual assault victim because she published this book. She made it so, known. I don't know, she really tried to interpret all of the pieces of her life and all of the pieces of Marty's, and she put the things that people wouldn't normally share, so it makes people that have gone through the same thing feel better about it. Feel like they can speak out about it because it's a whole entire book that's been published. I also recommend it to people that like to learn because it does have some scientific parts behind it, along with history, talking about the Chicago Police Department, talking about all of the bad things that everybody's done, such as the Golden State Killer. He raped and murdered a dozen victims, and then was found later on because of an old rape kit, because a smidge of sperm was found on the victim's car door handle and it connected to his trash. So just one little piece of evidence can really tie something together, even though there's hundreds and hundreds of these old rape kits that have been used and just stored away somewhere. We can still go back to them and find who the victims were and who did it. We have to still look for their justice, even if it's been a while. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.